Hello, today we are looking at the gifts that I got for Christmas. I shared them all with you on a video earlier this week and showed you the art haul of all the things that I got for Christmas. I did miss my Princeton Neptune dagger. I did put it in the description, but I forgot to show it to you guys because it was in with my Princeton brushes, but we're going to take a look at that today. In fact, why don't we just get right down to the desk so you can see what it is that we're going to be looking at. So I got these pens. They're the Bemoji pens from Kuretake. This was a set of 5. Now, of course, everything, I can't read anything that's written on the packaging. I only read in English. But I do know that they give you a variety of flexibility and so the sizes in your strokes. So we're going to look at all of those today. And my biggest question on these is, are they waterproof? I was really hoping when I got them that these would be pens or brush pens. One is like a brush for sure, that I would be able to use with my watercolor. So I can't wait to look at those. We're going to see how they, the marks they make, and we're going to test out whether or not they are or are not waterproof. Next thing I got right here, of course, if you saw it, was this little tool. It is a compass. It's pretty neat how this actually goes together and you get to use it. So we're going to do some things with that too. Like I said, I have my 2 brushes that I got. That was my Princeton Neptune 1/4 inch dagger. And then the silver black velvet, they call it a striper, and it was also 1/4 inch. We're going to see how similar are they. Do I like one more than the other? I'll get into my whole story about my Princeton Neptunes. You guys haven't really seen me use those here on the channel, but I do have quite a few. So we're going to get into those as well and see how they compare. I got the Meeden. This was the only plastic palette I got. And this is the Meeden Airtight watercolor palette. It has 33 wells. I'm going to show you that. And one of the things that I am very curious about is, will my paint bead up on that plastic? Because if you've watched me for any length of time, you know I can't stand palettes that bead up. And that is and I left them downstairs. Yep, I came up and I left them downstairs. Anyways, I washed a couple of my ceramic plates so I could show them to you. And then I just walked off and left them there. So, but that's why I used some ceramic plates, was because I like the, I love mixing my watercolors on ceramic. My parents got me this giant Meeden palette, and this one, the lid, as I shared with you guys, doesn't seal. Now, that's not a problem for me. I don't mind that at all. I knew that going in when I put it on my wish list, that this doesn't seal tight. It's not like one you'd put gouache in unless you didn't mind if your gouache dried down. It's definitely just kind of keeps the dust out, keeps your stuff clean. It's more like that. It looks like my colors are really, the brightness is really messing with it. It's pretty bright in the studio here today, but our weather is kind of weird. We just had a snow squall go through. So, and then the sun came back out. It's crazy weather today. And the wind's blowing like just howling out there. All right. So this ceramic porcelain, I think I'm going to love this palette. But we're going to see. We're going to mix some colors on this. I'm not going to fill it up today. We'll save that for another video because I'm not sure what I want to put in it today. But I am going to mix on it so that we can see how that works. And then the other one that I got was this small one here that Lou got me. It was another one that was on my wish list. Guys, I probably had maybe 10 palettes on my wish list this year for Christmas. But yeah, we have this. And part of it was because I wanted a small palette for my desk that I could mix in, but it would also keep my paint separated. Whereas, when I mix on the plate, sometimes everything starts to mix together. Same as if you mix in here, things can start to mix together. At least here we have a divider so we can kind of keep warm and cool colors separate if we wanted to. we're going to see how well do we mix on those, and just get a quick opinion of them. All right, I'm just moving this stuff to the side because we are going to start with one thing at a time. Another thing that I got were these Soho metallic watercolors, and I'm excited about these. I want to know, do they shimmer? Do they sparkle? Are they glittery or are they shimmery? You know, because that's two totally different things, right? If they glitter and sparkle, or if they shimmer like just like a metallic. So I also have this separate little one, which is pretty close to the cyan that's in this set. Or maybe even the aquamarine, but this was a single one, Stoneground Paint Co. This can come, excuse me, right through the sketchbox, my ambassador store with sketchbox, if it's still available. These might be one of those like limited, but the color is Hudson Bay Blue. That's the color of that one. And it was just one that, I don't know, I was a random color that I thought was pretty and wanted to try it. All right. So now that the desk is all cleared off, where do we start? How about if we start with the pens? And I think my camera's kind of doing some wonky stuff. Rob asked if I'm going to use them on some black watercolor paper. We've got like the chat is just flying right now. So thank you to everyone. Rob has gifted some memberships and they are just coming through like crazy. Thank you, Rob. What a way to start off the year. So we have got, let me just pop that up there. We have some new super fans now, thanks to Rob's gifted memberships. Welcome Abby Katz was gifted one. Chuck U. Farley, Old Lady Farmer, Patricia Moore, forgive me if I didn't pronounce your last name correctly, Erica, Stephen Gutierrez. I tried. Again, apologies. NJ, Tamara Myers, Maria, Ree. All 10 were claimed. And there we go. That is excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Rob. All right. So, Rob asked some black. Let me just see. You know, Rob, that would have made perfect sense to have my black paper sitting here. Let me grab it. And we will use... I thought I kept it close. Like, I just redid everything in the studio. So it's all put away. It's nice and organized. And now, of course, I know where nothing is. And I did have a black sketchbook. And I said, I need to keep that handy because there are so many times that I wish I had it. So give me just one moment. Let me bring you... Whoa. Cancel. Okay, let me bring you full screen on the desk. Here we go. We're going to start with our pens. And I really was like, I need to figure out how I'm going to keep these. Because, see, the bags have colors. And you can see the different line widths. I was like, that's great. But once I take them out of the bags, I can't read what is on the barrels if it says. And they do. They are different. So each of these say something different. I can't read that, unfortunately. So I don't know. Well, Rob, if I can... Oh, I found it. It's hiding under my Gansai Tambi watercolors. Okay. So, yes, Rob, I have here a black... This is the Strathmore drawing. So, not typically what I would use because it's only 60 pound. But for making some marks... I have some art I did in there. But for making some marks, just so you can see how those colors react to, you know, on black, how they look on black paper, I'll have this handy so we can do that. Okay. One of the big things I wanted to know is, are these waterproof? Because if they are waterproof, then I can use them a lot if I really enjoy them with my watercolors and do line work and then put washes down over them. What got me started was I got this one, and I got this one in a sketchbox, and it's a big brush, and this one is like a blue color. And then I saw these and I thought, oh, I really would like to try that. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. Okay, so let's look at, I'm like trying to, my camera is in a different spot, so there we go. You ready? All right, so the first one, the nib is very firm, but it does have a little bit of flexibility there. I can make very fine strokes with that, or I can press and thicken it up a little bit. So that is, I like that. We're gonna see if these are waterproof. And this one says it goes from, now that I can read, and it says it goes from 0.3 to 1 millimeter. And there is that. Now I'm going to kind of keep these. At least I hope so. I hope I am. And they're marked. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know. I can't even begin to tell you. All right, let's just keep going through these. These would be great for if you are like a hand letterer. Oh, thank you. Rob says, the new camera angle looks good. Thanks for recognizing it. Yes, this is one of our new shots. So hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing a little better. Of course, you can't right now. There we go. So we have the next one. I can still get some really thin lines with that. There is some flexibility in the nib. And this paper that I'm using right now, I'm just using a piece of the B watercolor paper that is not the cotton. I'm using the cellulose one. Okay, so this one says from 0.5 to 1.5 millimeters. And hopefully by the time I am done showing you the marks that these make, we can start at the beginning and see. Now you see that one there. You can still get some fine lines with the point. Definitely press and get a much thicker line. And they're firm. The nibs are firm, but slightly flexible, if that makes sense. And we have 0.6 to 3 millimeter on that one. Our next one goes from 0.5 to 8 millimeter. So this one is one that is like the brush. This is like this one, very similar. And I could not tell you, this looks like it's the same pen by looking at what's written on the barrel. They look the same other than the fact this one should be black and this one was blue. So, oh yeah, look at the flexibility in that. And again, this is watercolor paper, so it's not really wanting to write on that very well because it's a watercolor paper. But if I just grab a piece, this is like printer paper. See that? Beautiful. Well, that one wasn't so much. My hands were shaking. Right? We can really get a wide, or we can get a very thin mark with those. A little thicker on the watercolor paper, but I can certainly get a thinner line on regular paper. And I can definitely vary. I can also get like dry brush technique. Yeah, that is a great idea. Jacqueline says, use labels to put on them, to put on the pens so you don't need the bags. Yeah, I could just take a piece of the masking and just do like they have here, just as an example of what the nib's going to do. I think once I, some of them looking through look very similar. They do have, they're clear, but still yet opaque caps. The brush is very distinguishable. And then this one also looks similar to the brush. We'll see if it acts like the brush. And this is from a 1 to a 5 millimeter. So doesn't go as broad. The other one went from a 0.5 to an 8. And so this, oh yeah, this is a much firmer nib. Where the brush, I could just press it right down just like it was a regular like watercolor brush. Or this one is definitely firmer. And if you're using them on regular paper, they do bleed through to the back slightly. Again, this is just printer paper. Okay, but on the watercolor paper, I do like this one for doing line work on the watercolor paper. Unlike this one where it gives me a broken line, I was still able to maintain that here, maintain my line. So yeah, that's not bad. All right. I am going to now take these whoa. Hopefully be able to maintain the order that they are in. But let's test and see, are they waterproof? Or do they dissolve? Well, that is very pleasing to know. That's a lot of water and nothing is moving. So yes, waterproof. Oh, look at that. And I'm just trying to keep these in order as I go here. But just so you can see, all of them are in fact, now that brush one is a little smudged a little bit, but it may not have been completely dry. But you see, you guys, there it is. So you see the glare. There's definitely a lot of water on that paper and they have not budged. So that's exciting. Oh yeah, Rob says, want monster engaged, right? I'm like, oh my goodness, would you look at that? I'm excited. I'm going to be able to use these pens, which was my hope with all of my watercolor stuff. And yeah, to see the blue one, which I think is a beautiful color too, doesn't move. So the Bemoji pens, yes, they can be used with watercolor or, under a water soluble media. They are not going to, they're not going to bleed and make a mess of your work. All right. The colors in this view with this camera, I do not know what is going on with it today. I might need to adjust its white balance. I don't know. Okay. And I'm already trying to mix them up. Let me just set these aside so I can kind of keep them in right order for later so I can mark them. Okay. So while we have this paper out, let's talk about, this is the packaging that they came in. The Soho Metallic, right? Urban Artist. The Soho Urban Artist watercolor set of 48. Artist Metallic. I can't read anything. I don't even know what's going on. Artist Metallic watercolor set of 48. So that is what we are looking at, and then trying to keep it so that like the glare. Now, one thing I wanted to know is like my Calero paints. Do these need to be primed? I have to wet the metallic paints that you saw me use over the holiday season. I have to wet them a while before I'm going to use them to really get them working well. Are these going to be like that, or are they going to re-wet easy? I don't know. So we're going to find out soon. But let me just show you while we have all this room here. Almost on my nose wants to itch. Let me just show you this handy little gadget. So when we go full dusk, is it still that bad? It's not. It's just that view. That's so weird. Okay. So this handy little gadget comes with a piece like this. Like this. And then it has these two pieces here. What you can do with these. So these have markings on here as well. And there is a paper that tells you, about this. There's markings on this one as well. Now, you can use either the tall one or the small one. It's trying to give itself away. You can just hold your finger to keep it steady. Or you can, put like this. I could even stand my pencil in this one, because there is, you see the holes that are in the center. You can do curves with this. You see the little dots here. We can do, then this one has the dots. So we can do straight lines because that's a straight edge, or if I can keep them away from each other. And there are markings on here so that you know what you're doing. But I can just come right around. Oh, I can try. I moved it on myself because I lifted my hand up. But you can make circles. And you can put them on either one. They're just magnetic. So the ring in here turns. So this just sticks on there, and then this can spin. I was like, how do they attach? I could not figure out how they attached. It's just by magnet. So if we hold this down, we can create circles of varying sizes. And we can also, if I did this circle, say I did the circle this way, and then I wanted to separate that with lines, I could very easily put straight edges coming off, like the radius coming off the center of the circle. I just thought it was neat. It was just a little gadget that I thought might be useful in the studio, and it made my wish list, and I found it in my stocking come Christmas morning. So yeah, that was that little tool. So in case anybody was wondering, it does come with a paper that shows you, different ways that you can use it. This one here, they're both kind of put together. You can even use it to open a bottle in your studio or anywhere else for that matter. So that's a bonus. But yeah, it comes with a little pamphlet. Use your imagination. All right, let's try these out and find out. Do we need to pre-wet them? Now, this here, what I like is this sheet that sits over top of it. Tells you all the colors. So I am not going to swatch well, you guys can let me know if you want every single color swatched. Speaking of swatch, we have all new emotes this week for super fans. Those of you who just received a super fan membership gifted by Rob. You have access to those. And we have a Yeti. So it's thinking of saying Squatch, thinking Sasquatch. Yes, we have a Yeti. Is that Sasquatch's cousin? I don't know. But we have a Yeti is one of the emotes. I went with it's been snowing today. So there it is. Rob just put up cold. The celebration guy, because you guys did help me reach my goal at the end of the year. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, the Yeti. I thought he was cute. The little snowman. And then, of course, I still left the stuff for the snowball fights. If anybody was interested in having a snowball fight in the chat while we're going on, feel free to do so. Just duck once the snowballs start flying because, you know, we don't want anybody getting hurt. Okay. I'm really curious if how these are going to be in comparison to my Calero colors too, with the gold and the silver. So I'm going to just start with, let's try this gold. Let's see how well that picked up quickly. That activated really fast. So that's the gold. Let me pop that on the black. Again, this is not watercolor paper. I do have some of the black paper, but this is just a Strathmore black drawing book. All right, so do I have a separate container? All right, I do now for rinsing them. I usually try to rinse my metallics in a separate container. Just so that I don't get metallic stuff in my other paints. Not that I have any other paints out today, but I'm really curious to see the copper because I think that'd be gorgeous. So this is definitely not taking as long as it would take me to activate those Calero metallic colors. And then the next question is going to be, do they shimmer? Do they sparkle? And that is pretty. I'm like, I have a lot in my brush still. Hello, welcome, Joseph. Okay. Next up, let's look at the silver was the third one. So I think like gold, there's copper, silver, there is a bronze. I'll do the bronze as well. But then we'll look at some of these colors. These activate very, very easily. So I am impressed there because the other metallics, they take a while. And then I'm going to let some of these colors dry for a moment. And I'm just going to check in on the chat because I know I've seen some familiar faces. Just want to take a moment to say hello to Jacqueline and Simone Mack. Hi, how are you? George Pencil Art. Art of Joseph Fincham popped in. Tara was here. Of course, Rob, who gifted us some memberships today. Again, a huge thank you to Rob. Rob says, I also do not clean my brush with metallic paint in the same water as my standard water rinse. Yes, I just don't. I will clean my brush and then I will rinse my brush again in another one, just because I know I run that risk of putting sparkle or shimmer into a color that maybe I don't want it in for that painting. So, you know, if you don't mind, then it's fine. But if you're trying to be conscious of that, or you have areas of your painting where you don't want, you know, it to be shimmery, then it can be a good practice. Okay, so this is bronze. these colors. Oh, I have an idea of how to how these could be swatched out. If I would have thought about it earlier, I would have prepared it ahead of time. So what I'm going to do, I think, ooh, the bronze is really pretty too. Look at those colors. Justin says, I don't have metallic watercolors. Problem solved. All right. Now, the other ones I wanted to see, especially on this black paper, we have interference colors. So the interference colors are going to look one way when you're looking at them. And then when the light shifts, it's going to pick up the color. So right here, you can actually see on camera here, this is interference gold. This one is the interference mauve or mauve, interference purple, interference blue, and interference green. But when I tip them sideways, they all look kind of white. But when the light shifts, the color comes through. So let me just see. And I think we're really going to see this. I'll do it on both again. Right? See how that just looks clear. Well, from my angle, it looks clear. All right, so that was the gold. And now let's take a look at, this one is the interference mauve or mauve. I've always called it mauve, but I know a lot of people call it mauve. So there's that one. And let's put that up. Ooh, wow. Beautiful on black. So on the black, you definitely see the color right away. But see how on the white, it looks almost clear. Rob, don't threaten him with a fun time. Oh my goodness. All right, next up is going to be interference purple. These are definitely activating beautifully. I mean, I've had paints that activate quicker, but ooh, wow. Oh, that purple is just gorgeous. I have had paints that activate quicker, but there's no trouble activating these at all. I asked, these paints made my wish list because one, I thought, you know, metallics can be fun. They wouldn't be something I would like paint a whole painting with, but if I were doing, I'm like trying to see where I've placed color so I can put it down there. Ooh, look at that blue. That's beautiful. But if I were like making cards, which I do like to do handmade cards. Wow, that's like electric, isn't it? Yeah, it barely tints the white paper. We're going to shift that white paper and see when the light hits it from a different angle. Are we seeing the color on that white paper? Because these interference colors definitely shine. The color definitely comes through on black paper. So then the next one is interference green. But so I'm wondering, like interference green, if I was painting a snowy scene, and there we go. If I was painting a snowy scene and perhaps had some evergreen trees, and I wanted say I wanted some of the tree like reflecting off the snow. Well, maybe if I put some interference green on that, at certain angles, it would look like the light was catching it and we would see, you know, that green color coming through, but not necessarily always. So here's that. Let's look at when we tip them. So when I tip them, you certainly can, well, that's just really glared. They're not completely dry. But see, as I tip them, you get just that shimmer. And we're looking at, this was done in the same order. And it doesn't look the same, does it? Because the first one I did was gold. And then I did the mauve and the purple and the blue. And the last one I just did was green. And that is, they just act so different on paper. But there you can see the colors. Isn't that funny? It doesn't look, it's like, I can see them like from this way. I can see that this is green. What I'm seeing on my monitor is that you guys are seeing this as pink. And it's not. From my vantage point, this is green. This is blue. This is purple. This is mauve. And this is gold. Let me give those a quick dry with the hairdryer. And then I'll tip them a different way. And so George asked, why do some colors only show on black? So these are interference colors, and interference colors, they do that. There it is. So you see the green? You're seeing the green come through there. And then there's the blue. There's the purple. There's the mauve. There's the gold. So it's just the way that the light hits them. The pigments take on such different colors, but the primary color for this one is green. And there's the blue. Purple, mauve, gold. So very interesting. Like if you painted a card or other ways, like what are some other ways? Have you used interference colors? I have interference colors by Daniel Smith. I rarely use them. In fact, I didn't even think about it when I was doing all my card making this year. And there we go. Now that that's dry, now you can really see the colors right there perfectly. So those are interesting. What ways do you use interference colors? Whether you're watching live or on the replay, drop me a comment and let me know, because I'm really curious for some new ideas of how I might use some colors like this more. I think this interference blue, oh, I could just see that being painted on, like, when I do a snowman, the outer like shadow edge of the snowman, popping some blue color in there to where kind of maybe give them a little bit more dimension maybe. I don't know. It's an idea. But yeah, on the black paper though, it's like there is no interference. Like you need to have the white for it to be interference. It needs the white paper underneath it. With the black, you just see the color, and look at those shimmer, like that copper. That one just wants to sparkle. Oh yeah, Joseph says iridescent birds or bugs. That would be such a great point, because, well, if I did this over, say, a blackbird, then it would just look like this, right? But you could certainly use those as iridescents. But if you were painting some of this over like a bird that had iridescent color, that I would be really curious how that layers up on other colors. That could be a great way to use them. Nice idea, Joseph. But yeah, so those really, really sparkle. I'll put a few more of the colors. If you notice on the white, like, I think I'd have to layer those up a little bit more to get that good, solid, opaque color that I'm getting on the black when I put it on the white, because like with this one, I'm seeing some of that coming through on the paper. Of course, this is watercolor paper. This is not. This is a very smooth, so it'd be like using a hot press watercolor paper. If I used a hot press watercolor paper, I'd probably have something similar to this. And then you have all the texture of the water, the cold press paper. That can make a difference too. I'm just curious, just a couple other colors, but I have an idea. If there are more colors that you really want to see, I can swatch them. But what I'll do is I'm going to wait. I have an idea of a fun way to swatch these. Oh, look at that. And I will do that at the end so that way there, if you're watching this on the replay, and you know, we'll still chit chat while I'm doing them. But if you're watching on the replay and you don't want to watch every single color swatched out, then, you know, you'll know. I'm like, which way do I have to go? That way. Those are just, if I see, I wish it was showing you like my camera's screen. I have the viewfinder that points at me. Yeah, a scarab. Yeah, a scarab. That would be cool. And they definitely have to dry for it to come out. And this just has like such a sparkle. They sparkle. They shimmer. I think they do a little of both. Can I get this one up here? Yeah. See that? They're gorgeous. They are gorgeous colors. I am really pleased with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these aside for a moment because I really want to see how colors are going to work on our palettes. And then we'll come back. Maybe we'll paint something. Maybe we'll paint something with those before we're done. All right. I have pinned, if you're here during the live stream, words are so hard today. I have pinned a comment for you for Meet-In because I don't have the paper listed in the description below. I'm going to use some of the Meet-In 100% cotton paper. That's what you'll be seeing me use. Aside from this right here and the black book, which is the Black is Strathmore, not listed in the description, but and this is just the B cellulose paper. You can get this at Walmart. I definitely recommend that. There is a link. I know you can get it off from Walmart online. I have a link for them in the description below. And it looks like, yes, I have it right here. We all know I do not care for Canson XL paper as like I have some. I have a bunch. I need to figure out a way. I need to figure something that I will love on it. Watercolor is not it. But this is just a cellulose paper. It's from the B Paper Company. Be Inspired. 50 sheets. 50. And this will run you around $10 for 50 sheets. 9.5 or 9 by 12. It paints up nicely. If you take this paper down, it holds up well. For practice, how can you go wrong? Who's going to feel precious if they've spent $10 for a pad of 50 sheets, 50, not 15, 50 sheets of watercolor paper? You're not going to feel precious about it. You're going to use it. So I definitely recommend, if you have access to that, if you have not tried it, give it a try. You can click the link to Walmart and it's just in the description below and just type B watercolor paper. They have a bunch of other papers too for sketching and things like that. I can't speak to those. I've only used the watercolor paper. But I definitely encourage you, pick one up if you can and give it a try because you might just be impressed with, for cellulose paper for practice. Like if you're practicing brush strokes or if you're practicing water control, if you're practicing like salt techniques or anything like that. And salt technique tends to work better on a cellulose paper anyway. So yeah, I definitely would recommend giving that a try. So back to what we were talking about. The ceramic palette and the plastic palette that I got for Christmas. If I do any painting, it'll be on the Meet-In cotton paper, which I have fallen in love with. That or the Bao Academy, they're almost identical in every way. I can't say for 100% certainty that they are, therefore they're almost identical in just about every way. So definitely recommend those. And in the pinned comment that I left there for you is my code Meeden has given me to share with all of you, and that is use the code Clark. That is a capital C LARK, the number 10 at checkout, and Meeden's going to give you a discount. So I definitely recommend ordering directly from Meeden. Yes, you can get them on Amazon, but there's a very small threshold for free shipping on Meeden, and if you pick up 2 things of paper, you're going to have met it. So it is definitely worth it. Okay, enough of that. So this is a Meeden palette. I do not like it. So I'm using my Meeden palette to promote why I use my other Meeden palettes. This Meeden palette, let me just show you why. Instead of, I'm not just saying it's terrible, I don't like it. This palette, it's starting to get better. You see the colors pushing away. For the longest time, and I've tried everything with this palette, I had used a magic eraser on it. I tried, like, the sponges for your kitchen. They have like the green scratch pad on one side and the other side's a sponge. I've tried scrubbing them with those. And it just did not. And see, some spots are still, it beads up. I'm like, that's a green. These are my core colors. And I'm trying to get one that where I haven't used the well so much. Like, see the orange, see how like the color pulls and it pulls apart? It just beads the color up. The color beads up. It sits on top of it. It doesn't blend and lay flat. See that's pulling apart? I've used these center ones a lot more often. So eventually it gets there. But I've had this palette for a few years and it's just starting to get there. And sometimes it still like beads, like see that? I can't just move through the puddle and have a puddle. The puddle separates and pulls. It beads up. And that drives me crazy on a palette. So we're going to look at, I have not washed this. I haven't done anything. I've taken it out of the packaging and put it on my desk. And that is one thing I will say, Meeden packages their stuff well. I think I got rid of the packaging that this one was in already. But my large one, that came in a big box full of styrofoam to protect it. And I've heard other people say it too, that they package their stuff very well. Okay, so my core colors, let's just dive. This is going to be neutral tint. I think I need to order more neutral tint. So you see how that just lays there? It just stays. I put it on my palette, it stays. Kind of like this one was, but nothing like this mess. And that's important. Like when I'm mixing my color, like I want that pool of color. I want that puddle there. I want it to stay. I don't want it to pull apart into a bunch of little pieces. I need it to be like this. That's why a lot of times you see me mix on, I go to the Dollar Tree and I get the little tiny, either the square or the round. The square ones lay flatter. The round ones have a little bit more of a lip, but like a lunch size plate. And that, I just use one of those that's white because I can mix on that, see my colors that I'm making just fine. And it just sits there like, oh, it's like perfect. I love it. And of course this paint won't go to waste. I'll use it again, or I will use it in something. It'll sit on here and it's neutral tint. So I'll use that up very quickly, easily. Oh, excellent. good deal, Rob. And you had no issues, right? That you put in the code and you got your discount and no problem. Rob says he ordered the Airtight palette and a pad of paper. Oh, I can't wait to see. And they're blocks. So Rob said a pad of paper, but they're blocks. Well, I don't know if they have pads. But I know what I have. Like this here is a block. And no problems, he said. Excellent. So this is the old style lid. It had green glue on it. I'm just using it up. They're phasing. These are being like, they're phased out because they have a new, there was like new branding, their cover. They changed their cover slightly. I've shown it to you before. And the glue is different on the sides. It's clear, which is nice because if you see here, there's our snow globe we did. You see the edge of that green? Like sometimes that wants to stick to your paper. You can peel it off. It's not impossible to work with, but it is there. So I'm gonna have to take that off if we're gonna use this. And I can show you how easy it is too to take the paper off the block. Okay. Let me show you the Airtight palette that Rob has ordered, and let's keep our fingers crossed that it works like this and not like this. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Oh, oh, NJ. Yes, NJ got a membership from Rob. Okay, so here, I'm going to set this one aside. And again, that is a Meeden palette. I ordered that one off Amazon. I didn't order it directly from Meeden, that one before, because that was before I knew like, oh, I can actually order this right from Meeden. And okay, this is what the palette looks like. Okay. This can come out. If you saw the video I did, I'm not going to go over this too much in depth because I showed you this in the last video. This comes out, so I have an area. This can actually come out. You could technically use the area under there if you wanted to. One of the things I did was took this and turned it around because it was facing, the deeper part was facing here, and I wanted it the other way. I don't know. I may turn it back around. I'm not sure. I just want to know about this surface though. I haven't decided what's going to go in here yet. I'm kind of back and forth. I don't want to spoil anything because another thing that I got, I had to tape off a couple because, you know, they were out and you could see my numbers. And I'm not looking to gift my gift cards away, if you know what I mean. But I also was gifted some gift cards. So I'm watching on Amazon. I am like watching like a hawk. I know exactly what I want. And I've gone to Camel. I don't know if you guys use that, but check it out. I've gone there and plugged in the link for the item that I wanted on Amazon. And I set the price. Like it'll tell you. If you've never used camel.com, it's camel, like CAMEL 3 times, no spaces.com. And you take whatever item it is that you're looking at on Amazon and you copy the link. And then you go over to the Camel website and you drop it in and you search it. It'll come up and it'll tell you what the lowest price is, the highest price is, when it's fluctuated. It tells you all of that. And you can also set up for it to tell you, like, I know what the lowest price is on the thing that I was looking for. And I also know what I think is acceptable to pay. So I just plug that price in, and I'm going to tell you, as soon as it drops, my Amazon card will be gone because that's what, yeah, I'm not going to spoil what it is because I want to surprise and share it with you guys. And yeah, but it is there. It is in. I'm waiting for my alert to say, okay, the price has come back to not ridiculous anymore. And so stay tuned because I'm going to do another video when I get all of the items from my gift cards. I have got some things ordered with my gift cards, and I am so excited about a few things that are going to be coming in. And I can't wait to show you. Let's find out, is this going to bead? I'm going to use the same neutral tint, and I'm picking neutral tint just because I know neutral tint, like in my snow globe picture I just showed you that was in on my Meeden block. It's a color that I know I will use. Sometimes I use it if I just want to do monochromatic on its own. All right, are you ready? Oh, I almost just tipped that closed and it's wet. That wouldn't have been good. All right, let's find out. You're gonna see my cameras. I don't want to tip it upwards. I'm looking to see if there's an angle. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna change this camera out for a second. And we're gonna go to, oh, let's go over here to this camera. Oh, if I can. It's wanting to be finicky. Hold on. Apologies. All right, you ready? Let's see. Oh, Rob. Good choice. That is excellent. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that now. Because it is plastic, but that, when it's plastic, there's a little more drag than what I get on the porcelain or the ceramic, but it is not beating. It is like, it is staying. You guys have no idea. I'm like really excited over here right now. Oh my goodness. I was really worried. Like, I hate buying plastic or metal palettes because they can bead up so much. And if you look at the ceramic one, like, there's my ceramic, and then I already see the edges trying to dry. Everything dries so fast here. But look at that. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. That's fantastic. I am thrilled. Definitely, I am going to, by seeing that, I would definitely recommend giving this palette a try. Is that camera upside down? He says that camera is like facing me at a downward angle. Hold on, let me see if I can. I'm gonna do some crazy stuff on you guys here. That is a little better. Yes, better. I rotated the camera. I rotated the view of the camera is what I should say. Sorry, Dylan. I had to look away. I feel like I'm falling off a cliff. Sorry. Apologies. Thank you, though, for saying that, because it's good to know. I was really hoping for some feedback with some of the new angles, so I appreciate that. Okay. Hopefully that is better, seeing it that way. I'm upright again, Dylan says. All right, excellent. Rob says, can you say Winsor & Newton Pro colors? Oh, is this going to be your Winsor & Newton palette? That is fantastic. Yeah, that is one thing that I don't have, are the Winsor & Newton Pro colors. I've actually never tried them. I've never tried them. So definitely on my list of things to give a try. And let us go back. Boom. Let us go back here. Okay. See, the color is improving somewhat now because it's getting darker outside and my lights aren't coming up. They're what they were. But all right, next palette is this big old guy. And I suspect it's going to be just like this one, which is just going to be thrilling. See, when I put that down, it's like that palette gives me that. So yeah, the Meeden Metal palette, I don't know, unless they've changed, I don't, as long as you don't mind really working that palette to get something that is not going to bead so much. I wonder, can I get this one and switch it over here? Okay. So if you don't mind a palette that could have some beading like this does, it holds a lot of colors. I mean, that will hold I have 12. I could put a 13th in there for the half pans. You see how I have the extra space right there. I could most likely fit one underneath the lip in that spot, which would be 13 times 4 is what you could hold in there. And that's how my Schminke, the one that has my Schminke Super Granulating, I have like all the sets in that bad boy. That one's loaded. And that Schminke palette does the same thing. It is metal. It beads like a son of a gun, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I feel like Dr. Seuss. I don't like it near or far. I don't like it here or there. I don't like it anywhere. Oh my goodness. Oh, see that? I can't wait. Guys, I cannot wait to pick the colors that are going in these palettes and start painting and having some fun this year with you guys, because that is going to be excellent. And now let me just get this paint off of my brush here. We need to check out these brushes. Speaking of brushes. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to leave the little one on the desk. I'm going to move the big one off the desk because we just need some space. We need some space. One of the ones I really, really want is Meeden has kind of like the butcher's tray, but it's just a flat porcelain tray. The sides don't lip up as much as the butcher's tray, which I like, because then you're not dipping like over the edge getting into that. That's on that for sure. That is a wish list item. Once I make all my final selections and bring them to the checkout, I will most likely be getting myself one of those. Okay. Yeah, my Princeton Neptune. So I wanted to show you this, and I need to get you back overhead. We're just going to go full screen. So my Princeton Neptune brushes, that I forgot to show this to you in the previous video. Lou got me that for Christmas because I had already placed it in my little case where I have all of my Princeton Neptune brushes. Look at them, and they're all pristine. Like, I don't look like I've ever been used condition. It's because they're pristine and I've hardly ever used them. Yeah. So why did I ask for a new one for Christmas? Well, because just to explain my Neptune journey here, when I first started in watercolor, I was watching someone on YouTube, just like you are, and I was like trying to decide what brushes should I get for watercolor, because I didn't know. I had no idea what to get. And can I see you guys if I'm here? Yes, I can. Okay, hi. Hi. I didn't know what to get. And I went to YouTube to find answers, just like so many of us do. And I don't even remember who the artist was, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, because I can't say it was bad advice. It just was advice. It was advice that wasn't right for me. I love how they package these, because this has, like, my Silver Black Velvet has the cover, and I'm just going to slide that off. You see how easy it is to access your brush? Yes. Well, the Princeton Neptune, they have shrink wrapped this end to the ferrule, so this can't come off and damage your brush in transit, which I love. It just makes it a little harder to get into. Excuse me. So the Princeton Neptune journey. Yes, I was looking for good brushes, because, you know, a good brush, magically you become a good watercolor painter, right? Yeah, no. No, but a good brush definitely does help the situation. However, that being said, I had some off-brand, no-name, whatever watercolor brushes I was going to use for watercolor. I was just starting out, I've told you guys before, family members suggested I should give it a try, and I wasn't really that interested in watercolor, because I was like, oh, I can't, you know. But then I dove in, and thank goodness I did, because I had fallen in love with it. But that's beautiful. There's the difference. Prince of Neptune calls theirs the dagger. Silver Black Velvet calls it the striper. But you see the shapes there. So anyhow, I was working with these no-name brand brushes, and I was like, I want a good set of brushes. So I started down the rabbit hole of YouTube and what brushes should I get and why. And the Prince of Neptune was raved about, and I was like, oh, okay, well, shoot, maybe I should just go ahead and order some Prince of Neptune brushes. So that year I put them on my Christmas list, and Lou got me a couple sets of them, which makes up this variety. I think I might have ordered one or two separately on my own. But the majority of these came out of like 2 different sets, 2 or 3. And then I was like, oh, I was so excited. I got those brushes out. I got one wet, and I went to use it, and I had like 0 control. And the brush just flopped over. These are soft brushes. The brush just flopped over. It was like, it made my attempt at watercolor so much more frustrating, because learning to control your water and to control your brush is like really important in the beginning. I needed a snappier brush. I was coming from acrylic painting to watercolor, having not really watercolored before, and I needed a brush that was a little snappier and slowly work my way towards something like a Neptune. But that wasn't the advice. And so, like I say, that not that that's necessarily they're bad brushes, because I absolutely don't think they are. If you're just starting out with watercolor, they might not be the best choice to start with, in my opinion. So we're all entitled to that. I'm using my paint puck, and I'm bringing this over to show you, because, you know, these brushes are brand new. So you see, this is firm. It's got all of that like sizing and stuff that's in there. And I'm just locking that. I'm putting it in so that just the tips of the bristles are touching in the water, but it's not all just sitting in there, and it certainly isn't sitting on its point. I'm just going to let those sit and soak up some of that water for a moment and start to loosen that up, because I don't want to damage those points. Those points, there are just a few hairs that make up that fine tip, and I don't want to ruin those. So I'm going to, because neither one of those brushes are inexpensive by any means. They're not break the bank. Like the Neptune was more affordable than the Silver Black Velvet. Neither one of these at a 1/4 inch is outrageous, but I still don't want to damage them. Okay, so there is, wow. And that's got some flex to it too. That is not, it's not a snappy brush. And I say it's not a snappy brush, let me grab my paper towel so I can show you. Snappy brush is going to stand right back up, right? And that does, like you see there, when I press against the paper towel and come back, boom, it's back up. So it does have some snap to it. It's decent. It will still, like, you see how it's curved because it touched and it curved and it stayed there. Now a brush that's really snappy, it's just going to stand straight back up. I'm going to stand straight back up. Nice. I'm just reading Starving Artist Collective's comment. Okay, so now let me just, there was more in the Princeton was much stiffer than the Silver Black Velvet, so I just wanted to let that one soak for a moment more. There we go. But now let's see with the Neptune, when I press, see, you do have some, it's very similar to the Silver Black Velvet, which is why I have thought now you see how that like even like curled over. These are very, if I paint like this, it's going to go down and it kind of stays like bent. It doesn't have the snap of like a Princeton snap, stand right back up. right? It'll go right back. When I lift it off my paper, right back to straight. You can use those for watercolor. I think Emma Lefebvre actually, I think that's where she started with watercolor. Those were the brushes she used for like the longest time. She loved them. They have a lot of snap. They're going to spring right back. They're going to hold their shape better. And my Mimic brushes, do I have one of these on my Mimics? Just so I can show you. So this is a 1/4 inch as well. You see that point's different. Let me get that wet. So these are the Creative Mark Mimic brushes. I don't have this linked in the description, but these are available on Amazon. And then see how that pops back? It's still, even as it's getting drier, it's still popping back. It stands up a lot better after you've worked with them. So when I say a snappy brush or a brush that has more spring to it, for those of you who are new to watercolor, that's what I'm talking about. But now that they are all wet, let's just look at the shape. So I will compare the three now that I have the three out here. As far as size-wise, for your brush, the handle, I'm going to turn this paper this way so we can really get a good look. The Silver Black Velvet and the Neptune are almost identical. The Silver Black Velvet is just a tiny bit longer, and I'm keeping the edge of the ferrule at the same spot. If we look at the brushes, the Neptune is a little wider through here, a little more of a chisel angle, where the Mimic and the Silver Black Velvet both round really nicely, but look at the point on that Silver Black Velvet. These are dagger brushes, yeah. Well, Princeton Neptune calls it a dagger, and Silver Black Velvet calls it a striper, and Mimic calls it a dagger striper. So they couldn't choose one or the other. They called it both. So hope that answers your question, Dylan. So there are those three brushes, but I gotta say again, look at the point on that Silver Black Velvet, which is probably why they went with striper, because you're gonna get a line with that thing. Ready? You see how my paint is like, it's already dry in this palette. Let's get it wet again. All right. So the Silver Black Velvet, with this, I mean, with that point, my hand is shaking. Don't mind my shaky hand. I could probably just go and go and go with this brush. So the belly of the brush is larger, and then it comes down to a point. So this is going to hold a lot more, and it's just going to keep feeding. Right? And we can do, look at the lines we can do with that brush. And I'm not pressing too hard. My hand's a little wiggly. So this is all still the same load of the brush. Pressed a little harder there at the end. That is just still going. You guys can't see all the way to the bottom there. It's still going. Still going. It's starting. Let me bring this up here for you. It's just starting to get the edge broken there. And I did these marks up top. So, and I can still, yeah, see, you see how that line's starting to break up now? It's not staying nice and straight, like the line's breaking up. That's quite a bit. You could use that for a while. And of course, the reason I wanted them, because I thought, wouldn't they just be able to help me make the cutest of, this is for you, George Pencil Art. Can we have stream without doing a tree? No, we can't. Right? Look at those. You can just let that point just kind of hop right around. And I'm sure not necessarily what this brush is for, but I thought they would be beautiful for that. So that's what I wanted. And I will find many uses for it, I'm sure. So that was the Silver Black Velvet. Love the point on that brush. And let's look at the Princeton Neptune. So again, I had said that one looked a little bit more like a chiseled shape, but now that that's loaded with paint, you can see we definitely have a nice point. And I can certainly get very fine wispy lines if I lift away with that. My hand's gonna be shaky, so don't mind me. I just want to see how long we can go. Yep. Now, if I was taking my time, I could definitely get this line straighter. Although I am getting some walk where this kind of stayed smooth coming down with the Silver Black Velvet. Let me just try to do one with intent here to see. So yeah, in taking my time, right? The harder I press, the wider I can get that line. The more I lift, the thinner it gets. So this too is holding a great load of paint. And I'm just starting to see the breakup of the line there. So, yeah. Still, yeah, it's breaking up. It's starting to get where the line's broken. I got an extra line out of that one than I did on the Silver Black Velvet. So, you know, you take that however. And let's just kind of dance. And I'm just, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Sorry. I'm just dancing. I'm taking the point and I am letting that point just kind of dance around, but I'm using it on the long, I'm letting it, the long side touch the paper versus coming in on the short side. And just kind of dancing back and forth. Working on my little trees. I just wanted to dry really quickly. Some darker values. There we go, a little tree. Boom. I like it. What do you use, a dagger or a striper brush? If you do, what do you like to use it for the most when you're painting? What subject matter would you be painting and say, oh, I need my dagger or striper or whatever you call the brush that is shaped like these? What is it that you would be painting when you say, oh, I need that brush? All right. And the color may be getting lighter because I'm adding more water, but I'm trying to load the brush the same. And so here's the Mimic, which again, I did not have any intention of putting in with this trial because I didn't get it for Christmas. But just if you guys want to see, this is definitely should be more economical than either of the other two. As far as a line, you can get a beautiful line with this brush. And I expect it to perform very similar to the others. My apologies, because I am not 100% positive on the Princeton Neptune. I believe that the Silver Black Velvet is a mixture of real and synthetic. I just went back into the paint. See, I could have kept going. I can't give you an accurate now because I messed it up. But we can get it was easier to get my marks, I think, with the other two as far as the point goes. But I'm able to get some soft, sorry guys, some soft wispy, like if I wanted to do grasses, this would be a great brush for that. One more time, we just have to dance in a tree here. And I've already used up most of what I put on my palette. So what do you grab? If you're watching on the replay, drop me a comment and let me know. I think some might use these for doing like a leaf. And all I did was started with my brush like I was going to do a line the skinny way, turned and let the belly of the brush touch down, and then brought it back, and I turned that one opposite. So I turned it. Well, you can do it a number of ways. Like if I was doing like a blade of grass blowing over in the wind. Rob says he uses them for animal fur and they excel at whiskers. I could definitely see that as far as whiskers go, because yeah, I'm just trying to pick up some more of this pigment. If I was doing a whisker and I wanted to really pull that whisker out, right, I could really, well, that's going to get thick. It doesn't take much, as far as whiskers, it doesn't take much to press and get a thicker line, where maybe you might get better results if you're new with watercolor and grab a rigger or a liner brush. Look at those trees. That's some happy little trees. Trees make me happy. Snow-covered trees make me happier. I know, I don't have a popular opinion when it comes to that, but I do love snow. I love to see the snow. I love to watch the snow falling. Nobody likes snow cleanup, of course, but you know, what are you gonna do? You can't have one without the other. Look at that. And now I'm spoiled. I don't have to deal with the cleanup, which is probably why I love snow. Okay. So yeah, they're very similar. What did I like best? I don't know. Just from that quick, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that they are similar enough that if you wanted to try one, any of these would probably be a decent choice. I think you're going to have your top of the end being, as far as price wise, I'm not saying top of the end as far as quality. I'm not judging the quality of the Silver Black Velvet over the Princeton Neptune. However, let's see, if I were doing grass, right, bent grass. Look at that. This brush is beautiful. I can see me using this quite a bit for a number of different things, for sure. I do love the point. I'm just grabbing more from my actual palette. So you see, you can use it for putting in like clumps of grass. You could use it to do branches on a tree and just kind of let it dance and move for different branches. Joseph says, I mostly use my daggers for blending and getting paint into tight angles. Let's see. So Starving Artist Collective said that she found some Italian, it's Italian Tintorento size 6 quill, right? And it costs, so she's sharing what the costs are, and the same width as Silver Black Velvet size 14 round, but with a longer point. And the Silver Black Velvet round is going to cost you, oh, that's for Australia. But she's saying comparably about $116 US, but I don't think it actually costs us that much in the US. So Joseph said it better be paint for him at that price. But yeah, Joseph, I don't think they actually in the US cost us that much money, but like the correlation of Australian dollars to US dollars, that would be an accurate, so what she would pay there. Because they're definitely not cheap. The Silver Black Velvet brushes are a set of brushes that you are going to invest in and hold on to. And see, if I were painting, say I were painting branches, see how I get, like, when I do my branches, anytime I get those like random bumps, like that's where something else comes out. That's how I end up. So I could certainly use this, and they get smaller as they go. Right? I would definitely, this would be one I would use to paint some branches with. For sure. I love it. I'm very pleased. Happy with my choices. I'm going to use both of these more. I'm not going to form an opinion which one I like better, but if you want one that's pretty economical, you could check into the creative mark, the Mimic. This is synthetic. That's where I was going with that. I don't know what the Princeton Neptunes are made of. I don't know if they are real hair or synthetic. I forgot to look. My apologies, because I know that's important to some people. I know that Silver Black Velvet is, I'm almost 99% positive it is a blend. I'm pretty sure it has real animal hair in there. But the Creative Mark by Mimic, the Mimic by Creative Mark, this dagger striper, this is synthetic. So if you want a brush that hasn't touched the animal world, then perhaps the Creative Mark, I mean, you see the marks that we've gotten here, they're all very similar. Beautiful lines with this brush. This might be the better choice for you, and you can get that on Amazon. I have a link to Amazon below. You just search Creative Mark or Mimic, which is MIMIK, no C in that. Mimic dagger striper, that was 1/4 inch, and check them out. They should be pretty reasonably priced. Mimic brushes usually are, and at 1/4 inch it should be very reasonable as far as your cost. Okay, wow. So that is like, we've got through quite a bit of the stuff that I got for Christmas. I am super pleased with those palettes. Do I have a favorite? I don't know yet. Like, I don't know. I thought for sure that I was going to say the large ceramic palette is going to be my absolute favorite, because I knew that I would be able to mix on that palette, and excuse me, I knew I would be able to mix on that palette and it just be beautiful and not beat up. And I questioned whether or not that plastic one was going to work so well. And I'm very pleased. I'm so pleased. I have another light. I don't know that helps, but we'll give it a try. They do. Thank you, Starving Artist Collective. Thank you. So she just confirmed what I thought, that the Silver Black Velvets do have synthetic and natural hair blends. So they're beautiful brushes. They do cost. I think they're worth their money, you're going to invest and you're going to keep that brush. And I have really, I beat mine because I got the one that I got. I think I have one where I've ticked the tip, and that was one of all of the brushes I have. I think it was my 6. Yeah, this is a 6. So you guys probably aren't going to see what I'm talking about, and it's not wet, but you can kind of see it. Put it over here. See how the tip of it kind of, boop, it goes off just a little wonky. And you're going to find too that some of your brushes will take on a shape like that the more you use them, and you won't mind because they're shaped a certain way because of the way you use them, which could make grabbing somebody else's brush and trying to use it pretty awkward. But if you see here, like when I turn it right there, you see how there's just a little bit of a tick that way? That's what I mean when I said like I tipped the tip. I like bent the tip of my brush. And I think some of that was using this brush, and that's that angle. When you try to get into those little tiny half pans, that little angle just puts so much on your brush to try to get your paint activated, which is why you see it all the time. I spritz my palettes. I keep, a little spray bottle on my desk. I probably have 3 or 4 spray bottles on my desk, fine misters, things like that, because I will come through and give them a spritz like this ahead of time, because I want, when I go for that color, it already to be soft, so I can just pick some up and I'm not digging in those wells. And I think my Daniel Smith palette is how I've destroyed it, because I actually have that here. This little guy, right? And I've removed the other side. Because of this. I mean, you see the circles, right? It's going in like this, trying to get that color, and it just does so much not so great things to your brushes, which is why I wanted ones like this. You see how large these brushes are? I don't have to come in at the tip of my brush if I have the larger wells like this. And that's why I wanted that plastic one, because the plastic one, now there are advantages and disadvantages to this, because with this here, I can come into this palette, right, like this, or I can come at it this way, because my paint, these wells are deeper. Like this is deeper. It's deeper here than it is here. So they're slanted. But if I have my paint in it and I am coming at it like this, I can get in at that angle and not be pressing on the tip of my brush to try to get at that paint. That's why I wanted this. So there's so many advantages to this. The disadvantage, right? Oh, I didn't try the Stoneground company one yet. I'll have to try that in a second. The disadvantage is like with this kind of palette, I can just take these out. I can move these around. I add a new color. I can rearrange this palette however I want to. Once I put my colors in here, when I pour them in there and they're sitting there until I use it up or really get it wet and kind of, I don't know if I'd be able to pop them out of there. I don't know. I'm going to be committed where I place those colors. So that's the only disadvantage I can really see. You let me know in the comments. That's the only disadvantage I can think of to a palette like this, is that you can't just pop your colors around. Same with this, you know what I mean? Which is why I would say full pans versus half pans. But even a full pan, I don't know. It's going to be 2 of these. So yeah, with a full pan, I could get in there better. I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. There's going to be many opinions on that, I am sure. Let me just take this size 6. I'm just going to wet this and see how easy does it wet. This blue. And I want to check it out on here. Ooh, you guys can't even see that. Wow. This paint. All right, I gotta shut this other. I thought this other light might help, but the answer is no. It sparkles. Oh, it sparkles. That's Stoneground Paint Company. Again, that one I got via sketchbox. And look at that color. Beautiful color. I'll let it dry and show you in comparison. I'm gonna put it on the same side with all the other sparkly shiny things. Sometimes I feel like a magpie. It's all the shiny things, the sparkles and the shimmers that attract me. So I'll let that dry and we'll take a look at it again before we're done. All right. I love my paint pucks for standing up my brushes. So that's how I know. I am so anal. I don't know how you guys are, but I am so, my brushes lay flat to dry, or they sit just like this on my paint puck so that they're well up off the sides. And I made the mistake one time. I wasn't watching. I just went quick and I kind of put one of my brushes in, and I'm not going to let this one go, but it slid down. And it slowly, I didn't notice it because it was slowly slid down. And I think that's how I ticked the tip of that size 6 silver black velvet. It dried like that. I have not tried putting it in, taking some boiling water and silver black velvet. Actually, I saw a video where they recommended that. Just the tip part. So if I boiled some water in the kettle and just put a little bit, I would just put my bristles in. I wouldn't fully submerge everything and encourage, that boiling water. Yes, some is going to go up into that ferrule because the brushes will soak it up, but just real quick in that hot water. And then I would put it in like my old Masters brush soap and form that tip and just let it set for a while, completely dry, and see if I can't get that back. I'm hoping. I am hoping I can. And at least it was only my size 6 that I did it to, because that's a lot more affordable to replace than if it were, say, I don't know, like my 3/4 inch oval wash, which is going to cost me $35 to $40 probably to replace, unless that's gone up ridiculous too. You never know. Things are crazy. All right. Let's see these colors. I'm putting my core colors away, my little core palette. I need to expand that palette so bad. I love the core watercolors. All right. These definitely, I'm like giving this like 2 thumbs way the heck up for how they re-wet. They're gorgeous. They re-wet so easily. All right. So when you order from Meeden, and I actually don't have the green one. There's a green one. It looks like a leaf. And they will send that to you, usually with your watercolor pad. So, Rob, you should expect to get one of those with your pad. And if you don't, reach out to Meeden because they will send you one. But there's the space. And when the glue is clear, it's harder to see that space. But you're just going to go in the space and... See, this is hard because I still have some of that blue that didn't come off with others. There we go. Just right down. And I use these when I make my own blocks. This tool. I love these ones. And I got them with the blocks. I think I got the dark. This one I got with the round watercolor that was sent to me, the round watercolor paper, excuse me, that was sent to me. See how it's still attached? There's the green. See how you can see it? I mean, it pulls off. No problem. You can remove that. But the new ones are clear. The glue is clear. So that was from Winter. That's on my channel. You guys have probably already seen that. If not, we just did that in December. I think that was one of the last ones we did before the break. But this one came with my Bao Hong Academy. I got another one of those. So yeah, they send them to you with that stuff. All right, I'm going to take one of my Bemoji. Actually, I think I'm going to grab this one because it worked better on the watercolor paper. I'm just going to real quick. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. All right. Just real quick going to sketch this out. George Pencil Art says, I vote for a tree. All right, George, I have an idea just for you. What do we have? I'm going to have to make these pretty thin. Or put a couple of my little, I'm sure you guys can figure it out, my little shelves here a little closer together. And one more. So there's 48 colors. I have to get 12 on a shelf. Or something like that. We'll see. All right, just for George. And we will finish that. We're going to do a bonsai tree, George. Give it a little twist. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's check out some of these colors. I'm just grabbing my silver black velvet size 8 round. Actually, you know what? No, well, I'm going to grab my silver black velvet dagger. Because I just want to see. I'm going to move this black book. So we're just going to do this on white, obviously, on white. And I'm going to take some of the white. And this is one of the things, like, see, like activating a color, like that is definitely a way that you can mess up the tip of your brush if you're not careful. I'm just going to put some of the white in here for the pot that holds our bonsai tree. We'll see how that shimmers. Perhaps this would be a good choice for when we put snow in. We'll have to do some more winter scenes because trust me, winter's just barely getting started here. Hi, Caution Artist at Play. All right, we're gonna check these out. And so we know I'm not going to do the interference colors because we already did those ones. So I'm just going to start in row 2, and we're going to have yellow. So this one is yellow. I'm going to give all of these a spritz because I don't want to have to take time when I get to each one. And I don't want to damage my brand new brush. Okay. I'm going to start with yellow. And we're just going to paint a rectangle. I think this is a great way. Now, if I were swatching all of my colors to really see like how they work, like, you know, the different values I can get from them, this is not how I would do it. I just thought this would be a cute way to wrap up today and do this with you guys. So next is a yellow golden. I'm going to kind of skip a space and I'm going to make it taller because I don't want them to touch each other and blend yet. There we are. So that is yellow golden. And so now we are working on cotton paper. Next up, we have brilliant yellow. I'm going to skip a space again. Right? Since yesterday, yeah. A lot of us hang out in Lisa over at La Prix Fine Art. We hang out in her chat on Wednesday nights. And then you see some familiar faces or names over here on on Thursday. I can't keep my days straight. That is brilliant yellow. That's so pretty. Next up, we have shimmer yellow gold. That definitely, when you prime those, that one is very, I didn't have any problems wetting that at all, or, you know, picking that up. Ooh, look at that. So this one is shimmer yellow gold. Maybe we'll make this a thick book. I think that's a thicker one on the shelf. That's a pretty color. This definitely reminds me of like one of the colors in the Fine Tech, the Calero metallic colors. Okay. Next up is shimmer raw gold. Ooh, that has got some sparkle. That has some serious sparkle to it. Hopefully that will translate when it's dry, when I tip this and show you. I mean, you can I can kind of see it showing up on the monitor. If I could pick this up. See the sparkle? Oh, it's just, this one sparkles. And sometimes I think they shimmer. What's the difference between a sparkle and a shimmer? For me, a shimmer is just like, you know it's a metallic. When you tip it, well, it just shimmers. But a sparkle is like, you have all of these tiny little specks that catch the light and they just sparkle. Okay. And then gold, which I did the gold. So we did the gold on the other page. So I'm gonna skip, well, we'll just put the gold. We're gonna put it up there, why not? We'll let it represent. And these look like the way that they go. Let's make a smaller book. Well, it looks like the way that they go is actually, if we went down and then, wait a minute, I had it. Yeah, I don't know. At first, like, this looks like it would go this. Can I do it right this way? Like for the colors? But, all right. I'm going to dry those real fast because I want to be able to paint some in between. I want to stick with the same type of color so we can just kind of do a gradual color shift going down. You see, I had a really wet puddle there and I kind of blew it upwards, so I'm not worried about it. It's fine. That book is old. It's well loved. We're not going to let it concern us. All right, I'm going to come back over here in between these. Let that be, yeah, it's not hot. And I'm just keeping my books different sizes. And I'm just going to paint. And I'm not worried if they touch or they don't touch because I'll show you why in just a little bit. Okay, and so that was the light orange. Next up is orange red. Do you guys organize books by color or by alphabet if you're putting them on a bookshelf at home? Or do you go one better and do them by color and then by alphabetical order? Gotta throw that out there as an option. All right, this one is the bronze. And he's a short book. Doesn't mean he's not great, it's just short. And actually, let's take that bronze and I'm gonna put a little bit underneath here. I'm gonna do, wait a minute, where's bronze? Right here. I'm gonna do part of my shelves in that. So they kind of look like wood, but and now, just so I can risk putting my hand in it a bunch of times, I'm just gonna go right down. turn this slightly. Had a big old bead of water on it. I'm just going to let it be, see how that absorbs. This dagger definitely holds a lot of water. I'm not seeing this color when dropped in a wet wash. I'm not seeing it like take off. It kind of stays right where you put it. It's not wanting to travel too much. Maybe we'll do a couple books side by side where they might, you know, touch and see how do they move. All right, so that was the bronze. Next is shimmer yellow brown. This is shimmer yellow brown. This top shelf's gonna look like it's got some leather books on it. Leather books that sparkle. It's funny, you guys are talking about being in the zone working. I sat here. I had everything done and I was ready to go. Gosh, probably by like 1 o'clock. I'm like, now what am I gonna do? Because I can't, I'm gonna use this color on some of the fronts of these, some of these other shelves. Like, I can't go do something else because I'll lose track of time and I'll, like you said, get in the zone and then I won't be on time for when I set up the stream. How many of you get that way once you start creating? Just lose complete track of time? I sure do. It can be hours. I can absolutely lose hours without realizing how much time has gone by once I start painting. Especially if I'm painting and I'm not recording. If I'm just creating for me, then I definitely, that can happen. These colors are beautiful. Like trying not to touch what I painted because, you know, I just did this so that it'd be more difficult for me. I love a challenge. Look at that. They just sparkle. I'm not worried if I paint over, because there is some opacity to these, and if I paint over that line, that doesn't matter. I can always go back over it. Grab my Bemoji pen and redo that after. And you could use any liner that's waterproof to do something like this. We're using these because of them being ones that I got for Christmas. And I'm so excited that they are waterproof. I did not have to wait a very long time for them to dry either before coming back over with something that was wet. And I love that the line work just stays right where you put it. Oh, you know what else we can do with this color while we're here? We got our tree for George. Let's work with our tree. Make the trunk or some of the branches this color. And I'm going to put green in here, so you're not going to see me. I'm not going to paint like everything. If you see, like, there's a space there. So I'll come back and I'll put, when we get to the green, we'll pick a green that we like. And we'll put some green in. There's our bonsai tree. Huh? Yeah. Rob and all his cards. That's funny. Rose, yellow, brown. So this is rose, yellow, brown. So I'm guessing like a rose gold. We shall see. See, everything dries so fast. I'm going to have to spritz these again. Weren't we talking about that last night with acrylic paints drying on palettes? I can soak my watercolor palettes and they'll still dry so quickly. Yes, this is definitely looks like just like a rose gold. Did you get snow, Shanna? We got like a couple bursts. We had like a couple squalls come through, but other than that, not really. Nothing that stuck. And then whatever did stick the one time it came through, it was gone a short time later. This one is shimmer red brown. I'm gonna make this one a little taller. Ooh, look at that color. That is like dark. That's gorgeous. Shimmer red brown. Stay in the correct row. Let's stay in the lane here. These are beautiful. Yeah, we have another chance this weekend. And then from what I'm hearing, though, it's going to be, I don't even want to say worse, but it's going to be worse next week. Which, well, I love snow. I know that doesn't make you thrilled to hear that. So this is copper. I'm going to leave a little space because I think it's going to be similar to our shimmer red brown. But this one is our copper. Oh, the sparkle in that. I hope that I will be able to, you guys see this, they sparkle. Rob, I definitely recommend if you are looking for a set of paints that have some, that are metallic colors, they definitely re-wet beautifully. These sparkles and shimmers, and I would say they do both. My question was, do they sparkle or do they shimmer? They do both. They definitely do both. All right, so that was the copper, and then we have so what do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. We have over 12 there. I'm going to put some down here. So like keep going. So this is red ochre. Red ochre. As I told you, I'm going to keep trying to put my hand in there. not worried about these being perfect. And you'll see why as soon as I get these on here. It's red ochre. Next up is the Shimmer Wine Red. Shimmer Wine Red. Come back here. Just going to put a couple more on this shelf. And that's going to be all that. That's dry. Where are we at? Shimmer Wine Red right here. It's going to be really wet now. Wow. Yes. Yeah. See, I don't have to go out. So that's why, like I say, I love the snow, but I don't have to go out in the snow. I can choose to sit right here if it snows. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to clean it up. I don't have to shovel it. I don't have to plow it. I just have to look at it and admire the beautifulness of its like fluffy blanketed trees and yeah. Okay, so next is Rose. Come back and put this one in between. Isn't that pretty? So now we're going to start getting into some of our colors. So I think these were a lot of like, they just looked like our golds and the gold and the coppery. And now we're going to start to get in. And this is wet, so we're going to see how these bleed. I'm not worried if they do. Like I said, just kind of let us see what happens. We've got to have a couple, right? We're going to have a couple that we let move. This is blush. I'm going to respritz the other pans again because they definitely are drying. And I can certainly see that one taking over into this book, but no worries. And wait till I show you my water. Oh my goodness. Just the metallic swirls in that water. Can you see it? Oh, I don't know if you guys can see it as good as I can, but all right. So the next one, maybe that'll let it pick up some. I don't know. But I can't see my colors that way. So the next color is the light pink. Yeah, I did blush. So the next color is the light pink. And I'm coming down here. We have lots of shelves. I can make some of these books fatter. Whoa. I just flooded it with way too much water. That's all right. Again, it'll look fine when it's done. Mauve or mauve, however you say it. So I always, it was always mauve. That's how I've always heard it. That's a pretty color. And normally if I were going to do swatches, I would try to do them and like speed them up or swatch them and then show you. But you guys are still hanging out watching, so I'll just keep showing you some pretty sparkly colors. Next is hologram pink. Ooh, I'm like really curious how that changes. Hologram, I think of things that like color shift. So this is hologram pink. And I'm going to do this one a little wider, and it's already like, it doesn't look that color in the pan. Like we look here in the pan, it almost looks like an orangish color, but it's looking very pink on the page. Let's make that book a little wider so we can get a really good look at it as it dries. And these are kind of blending because I'm not leaving spaces like I did up there. All right, next up, after hologram pink is pink. I'll leave a space. And this is just pink. Do you get more done creatively in the winter time when the weather is all crazy outside? The next color is heliotrope. I definitely do. Well, the past couple of years I've been sick through winter, but normally, and hopefully this year, everything will be fine, and we will sail through with no issues. That is my hope. Heliotrope, this is pretty. Ooh, that is really, really pretty. I can't wait for you guys to see all the angles on these colors. Heliotrope. Then comes purple. I'm going to come back for purple. We'll put purple right there. This really, it looks like a, it says purple, but it also looks like it has like a hot pink to it. Purple. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back, Dee. And violet light. We'll put that right here in the middle of this. So this is really wet, so I'm going to start in the center in case it's super, yeah. And I'm just kind of leaving a little space, not touching, because this is, well, it just touched there. It may bleed a tiny bit. That's all right. We had some chunkier books on this shelf. All right, Rob. He's going to laugh when I tell him. All right. And so that was the violet light. So next up we have cyan, and we're going to start a new shelf for that. We're just going to do 1.5 rows on this shelf and 1.5 of these rows on the next shelf, and it's getting so that you guys can't see them so well. Let me switch this up so that you can see the colors. All right, so this is cyan. And we're going to put it here. We'll make this a tall, ooh, that's pretty. We're going to make this a tall book. Oh, well, there you go, Rob. Lou's watching. Oh. I heard him come home from work a while ago. I was like, I didn't hear any noise. So I was wondering if he was out there. He's probably wondering, all right, when are we going to eat? As soon as I am done. I thought that this would be a cute way to swatch some colors. What other creative ways can you think of to swatch colors? Have you done something like this before? So I'm skipping blue and I'm going to blue deep. I'm going to skip a space and come back. It's not what I intended on doing, but that's the color my brush grabbed. So we've got blue deep. It's not one to... There we go. Now I've got way too much water. It's all right. This paper's thirsty. It will take it right up. I'll just leave some space and come back to that one, because that's going to walk a lot. Absorb some of that water. So that is blue deep. Then we have brilliant blue. I've skipped blue. I will come back to blue. We have brilliant blue. I've seen like stones, like pebbles done as swatches. I mean, I've done other things like that, but I hadn't seen this, and I thought, well, if we do the colors, this would kind of be a pretty way to display all the colors. Again, if I was swatching them to see like how light could I get the value and things like that, this is not how I would do it. So still haven't come back to blue. Actually, we'll just put blue up. We'll just put blue over here, because otherwise I'm going to forget poor blue, and we don't want to do that. Okay. That has a lot of sparkle to it as well. So there's blue. And then we have verdant, V-E-R-D-A-N-T, verdant. Just in case you're like, what the heck did she say? All right, let's put this one here. Oh, that's pretty. That's a pretty color. It's almost like a pastel viridian, like viridian meets turquoise or something. That's pretty. No, verdant is here. That is turquoise. I'm reading in the wrong row. Verdant is there. Turquoise is there. So this is turquoise. That's why it looked like it meant turquoise, because it is turquoise. Oh, and then the last one is aquamarine. We have aquamarine. I'm going to come back with aquamarine in here. And this has like a purple iridescence to it. You can see it in the... I can see it on my monitor, so I'm assuming you guys can see that. We're going to take the aquamarine and we're going to put it right in here. There we go. And so the next one over here is hooker's green. And we'll put the hooker's green, we'll put that right there. So a metallic hooker's green, that could be interesting, especially Rob orders these paints. He might have a nice green to do for some shimmery trees next year with all his tons of Christmas cards he paints. Hooker's green. Oh, definitely. That is like, That just has "I want to be a Christmas tree" written all over it. For sure. Beautiful. It did pull some of that color into it, but again, it's fine. We're not going to worry about it. All right, now verdant, which I won't spell again because I've already told you. Okay, I'm just giving these again. They're these ones on the end. So we're going to do this one and one more color, and then we'll do our bottom shelf. And we need to come back. Let's make this a tall book. I tried to make a different color, this color, so I'll make this one extra tall. I almost just threw my brush right at my paper. It wouldn't have been nice. That would not have been pleasant. I do that all the time. My hands will just randomly toss my paintbrush down. It's like, I'm not holding on to this anymore. Okay. And then we have the light green. This is light green. They definitely re-wet easily. And you could put other things on your bookshelf too, like where I have extra space. I could put a plant there, or bookends, or whatever you want to add. It's your shelves. Add what you want. Okay, let's take some of this Hooker's green while I'm thinking of it. And we're going to use the tip of this silver black velvet 1/4 inch striper. And I'm just going to take that tip. And we're going to put the leaves on our bonsai. There you go, George. You voted tree. We have a little bonsai tree. Okay. Opal green. We'll start off our next bookshelf. Our final bookshelf. Opal green. I'm going to try to put these kind of in the middle. There definitely is some variation to this color. When you think about opals, they also have that like that interference type color to them. Okay, so that was opal green. Leaf green, which we didn't use on our bonsai. Leaf green is the next one. I could see some leaves being that color. I'm not seeing a huge sparkle with this one. Some definitely sparkle more than they shimmer, and vice versa. Okay. And then we're going to do yellow green. Now I'm going to come back in between with our next couple colors. So this is yellow green. This one definitely looks like it has a shimmer to it. Okay, and next up is Deep Gold. And you could come back with a fine liner and even write the names of your colors on the spine of the book, like it was the book's title. You could make your bookshelf larger and do much larger swatches. If you have some colors you want to swatch out, give this one a try. I think this could be fun. You could do all kinds of things with this. If you just are feeling stuck and you're not sure what to create, grab some colors, put some lines in, and paint some books. It will spark that creativity and help you get started. And then the next thing you know, you're going to be thinking of other things you want to create or things you want to add to your shelf. This would be a great exercise to do in a sketchbook. And then just come up with, you know, the little knickknacks and tchotchke that you might put on your shelf. The next color is Pebble Brown. Ooh, I like that one too. I think I like this. I like sparkly and shimmery colors, but I also like muted colors. And I think this one is a little of meets both of those categories. It's a muted like color, but it sparkles or it shimmers. This one I would say shimmers versus sparkles. All right, and the next one is Deep Purple. Anybody listen to them growing up? Can I age myself some? I could picture Joseph listening to Deep Purple. Well, but we're talking about the color, not the band. We have Deep Purple. That's really pretty too. And of course, the way that I went, I probably won't remember when I went this way or that way, or but that's okay. All right, and just our last couple to go. We have silver, shimmer silver, and black. And I'm really curious to see what black looks like. Yes, I'm leaving a little bit of space there just because I'm wanting to be able to paint these one right after the other without them bleeding too much into each other. This did touch in a couple spots, and that's all right. Our books are kind of staggered a little bit further each time. All right, so then we have shimmer silver. Now that one feels like it's going to be a little harder to activate. No, maybe not. Let's see if it lives up to its name. I would say that's a sparkle silver. There is a lot of sparkle in that color. And then the one I was very curious about is black. Because it doesn't look very dark, but will it dry darker? I don't know, but I think I'm going to put it on this end. Well, it certainly does look, it looks much blacker on the white paper. Oops, I just went right down onto my shelf. It's fine. I do say that a lot, don't I? It's fine. But it really is fine. Don't let a mistake get you all upset. It's not ruined. And if you feel it is ruined, it was a learning experience. So again, I still say it's fine. All right, so I am just shaping my dagger brush back to its shape because I'm going to set it in my holder to dry. Let me dry these real quick and put those aside. Whether or not that was a good idea to just put the thing back on it, I don't know, but we'll find out. Instead of leaving it open to let the pans dry. Okay, let's check these colors out. You see that one really did, like, it took off. So that was the pink. They're definitely metallic. They definitely have shimmer. Some of them have a little bit more sparkle to them than others. Like this one really is sparkly. I love it. So now once you have your books on your shelf, just come back with a liner. This one's a little thick maybe. Right, and you're just going to line over your books. I'm going to grab one of the ones that had the, let's try the second one. It had a firmer tip. Yeah, that's better. I can kind of, this one feels a lot like if you've ever used the Funisuke brush pens by Tombow, it feels like the hard tip one. This feels a lot like that one. And I love that one. So I could see this one getting a lot of use. And the first one felt a lot, well, actually this one feels more like the soft tip. The first one felt more like the hard tip. I can come back over my shelf line where I said if I, you painted over it, it's not a big deal. You could draw your books out first if you just wanted to sit there and sketch and then put all the different colors in. There's our one that the heat tool made it go up beyond where I painted it. I don't worry if my lines aren't perfectly straight either. Right? It's actually going to look a little better that way. You can put lines, you don't have to put lines. You do your books however you want. Right? Each one's different. Maybe it's got some marks on the spine that way. Look at our bookshelf. and you can reline it. You could do this in pencil and then come in at the very end with your line work. Right? So I'm not going to make you watch me do all of them unless you want to. I mean, it won't take but a moment. See, she says, you thought you were escaping. We'll just go quickly. Just because I really want to see what it looks like when it's all done. Thank you, Joseph. This is a very creative way to swatch your colors. Right? And you could do this with get as creative as you want. Put a vase with a flower in it on your bookshelf. Maybe you have a candle on your bookshelf and you have some colors that you're swatching that would be perfect for the candle. You're only limited by your imagination and what you can put on your shelf. You can draw it out with pencil ahead of time. Or do just like I did. And then you get the random sizes because sometimes you'll have some brush strokes that get wider than others. Some books will grow in size on you, whether you want them to or not. Right. I definitely recommend this set of pens. Now that all the pens that you saw, they were individually wrapped, but they came as a set, and it is linked. Everything is linked in the description below. And yeah, I love, they've got, you know, the little loops on them. I think I've seen them actually hanging on, like somebody had them, like a display you could like hang them from. With, it had like little hooks on it, so they were all like hanging like this, like, and it was like a T. I didn't see anything like that when I bought these. I had no desire to store mine that way, but I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could. But they do come as a set. Because at first I thought, did he buy me the same pen again? Because when he got me the metallic watercolors, that was a duplicate because he not only did he not realize that he ordered it twice, he didn't realize he wrapped it twice. So that was funny. We had a good laugh on that one. Yes, I just told Anya Lou. Sorry. And you see, I'm just trying to do them all a little different because each book is different. This one just has such a sparkle to it. Like the way that one, I love it. There we go. And I'm not really going to mess with bonsai too much. I'm going to leave that just kind of the way it is. Huge thank you to the moderators, Tara and Joseph. Both of their channels are linked in the description below. If you get a chance and you haven't already, I definitely recommend check them out. If I made these bigger, if I did a bigger bookshelf, I would probably do that. I would probably put their name on the spine of the book. I just noticed Lou didn't put the face up here where he's kind of covering his eye. Yeah, he did. He did that. He wrapped them twice. But that's okay, because I got to send it back, which hopefully by tomorrow they'll be telling me they have it and have credited me so I can combine that with my gift card. And then hopefully the item that I have been watching like a hawk will dip in price. Something else did that to me the other day. Like it dipped in price and Amazon notified me. An item in your cart has a lower price. And I was like, I went on and I looked to see what it was. I am so glad that I did. Wait till you guys see. I'm not telling, no spoilers. Once that comes in, oh, I am very excited. There we go. Love the pens. I definitely recommend them. If you want some metallic paints that sparkle and shimmer and do all the things, that's a wonderful set. They re-wet beautifully. The palette, that plastic palette by Meeden, that was wonderful. I couldn't believe that. I could not believe how much that it didn't bead. I expected it to bead up. It didn't. I love it. And now I'm just trying to figure out what's going to go in that. Thank you, patrons and members of the channel. I really appreciate you. If you haven't hit that like button and you enjoyed these things and you want to see some more fun stuff, smash that like button. Maybe consider subscribing. We finally have gone over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna pop another video up here that you might like to watch next. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had fun. I loved our little bookshelf. I think that came out great. I would do this again. I would definitely do this again. If you do this, post it and tag me on social media because I would love to see it. Until next time, keep creating, and I will see you in a video real soon. Bye, guys.